Yo, we just hit you with like 300 questions right off the top.
Disciplined stoners. What's your discipline? You a stoner? That's cool. So are we.
I'm high a lot. It's weird to finally say that with pride. I'm high a lot.
These plants just help me chill out. Found focus. Found confidence. All of a sudden I was productive. Less protective. More progressive. Love and light. Welcome to Disciplined Stoners Podcast. With your host Ellevan.
And my name is Winnie.
And we are the gateway drug to mindfulness.
And welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Stoners. I'm your host, Ellevan.
My name is Winnie.
And we are the gateway drug to mindfulness. And today...
Yeah, we've been trying to get this guy on for a hot minute. His discipline is unmatched, so we're going to touch on that. We got 2 degrees coming at you, so lots of smarts happening. CCO of the beautiful Mother Labs.
And he has all the disciplines, and he's a father. He's everything that we want to be when we grow up.
Please welcome Adam Brockest.
Get your joints up.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled and a little bit bashful with an intro like that.
Well, no, we are super stoked to have you on. Since we met you, we've just been like, you blew our minds at O'Cannabis with a couple of cultivars that you had there. One in specific that we could talk about, Chatterbox. But we do have these 3 beautiful crosses here. So I actually have this is going to be like totally... I don't know.
We're fanning out a little bit, okay?
We're fanning, yeah.
Just so you know.
This weed is so good. I don't actually know the process of like, how do you mate seeds?
Why are you
how do
so
you
good?
cross strains?
So, you know, I'll do my best to answer this because I am definitely supported by a team of absolute experts.
Yeah.
I just get to go out and talk about all the great work that they do, and you know, credit definitely lies with the folks in the garden. You know, in particular, our CEO Brian is a long-term advocate of the plant and has a very deep and in-depth history with it, and he's definitely the brain trust behind it all. I'm just the lucky one that gets to go show it and talk about it.
Love that.
And consume it.
And we will have Brian on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a little bit missing out that he couldn't be here, but a couple provinces away will definitely hold you back a little. But really, you know, the process that we go through is, for us, anytime we're selecting strains, it's trying to hit a criteria. You know, it needs to be high THC, which I know kind of pains us all a little bit, but that's a bit of reaction to what the market demands. High terpenes is a must.
Yes.
Did you sorry to interrupt, did you, because you're right, it is a reaction. The high THC, we talk about it a lot because I work in a retail store, and I get that question a lot. People come in hot and say, just give me whatever's your highest THC, which is like the most annoying question for someone who loves weed.
It's like you're not shopping for alcohol. Like, it's a little bit like for weed dorks, it's like, nah.
So was that,
But
because it was reactionary, it didn't start like that?
Yeah. So when cannabis first kind of went into legalization, like, you kind of saw those thresholds bump up.
Yeah.
You know, initially, you know, if you were between 18 and 20, it was good.
Yeah.
Then the threshold moved to 22.
Right.
Or sorry, 20, then 22 and 24. And now you've kind of seen it bump up against 25. And, you know, quite frequently you hear people ask for, the common ask is, I want 30 or north of 30, I want 30.
Yeah.
And look, you can absolutely do it, and it's something that we're fortunate enough that we can do and make that available. But I think there's a lack of understanding in the market on that. That's not all that normal, and I think it's accustomed to people that have made it so readily available. But it takes a lot to actually hit cultivars at that level and consistently. But you know, very pleased and happy to say we have an abundance of them in the stables, so that's we can check that. But you know, if you're asking me what I'd like to smoke, I want something that's about 18%, and I want something that's, you know, 3, 4, or 5% in terpenes, because that's personally where my passion is and where I get the most out of it and use cannabis as a tool. So sorry.
That was
so brilliant.
Yeah, that was a beautiful answer. Okay, so you have so back to your criteria.
So criteria, and so looking at high yields, because it has to be commercial viable for our customers.
Yes.
And then really looking at things that are disease resilient. Rare terpenes, rare cannabinoids. Well, when you think of it from the production side of it, you've got this crop that you've spent, all this money on the plants, the inputs, the staff, the lighting, the heating, the cooling, all of these things, and gets really expensive. So now if you had a powdery mildew, or if you had a mold or something wiped through your crop, it comes at great pain and great expense. So really we take it quite seriously, and we're looking for things to try and mitigate this as much as possible. And the way that we look at it is we're not necessarily selling plants. We're trying to sell you a solution and trying to help you get to market. Because, for most producers, they've been building for 3-4 years without a revenue stream. So they don't have a lot of room for missteps and errors just based on the heavy regulation.
Yeah.
So we really try to help them kind of foolproof that as much as you can and insulate it where you can. Now, obviously, there's always places you can go wrong, but you kind of start to put that structure and that framework around it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, that makes sense.
Brilliant.
What is it that you're...
It smells so good. Specifically things from Mother, like, they smell so uniquely bold and good. It's like...
You went for the Mangarita.
Well, I figured start high. We weren't going to not try one.
No,
Is that okay?
for
We
sure.
bust up a little one of these.
Of course.
So I figured start high.
Okay.
Right?
Hey, no complaints here.
I have to taste it. I have to taste it.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for bringing me.
No problem. And just, so your listeners kind of know, this is our latest breeding project. Just some pieces that we came out with. We basically took a bunch of our winners, smashed them together to make bigger winners.
It looks...
That smell never gets old. Honestly,
it really doesn't.
When I'm in the trim room, I'm smelling my hands afterwards. You gotta wash your hands out of them. No, you don't.
Yeah. And perfume. Put that all over you.
Yeah, well, exactly. Right? Exactly.
1,000% plants.
Exactly. And so for this is just kind of bringing some of those together and kind of trying to kind of capitalize. And like really when you're looking at it, when you're seeing the turn in the market, and you probably see this firsthand in retail quite a bit, the demand goes up and then all of a sudden it just kind of falls off.
Yeah.
And so for cannabis users, most of us like flavors and to constantly switch and kind of move through.
Your brain likes it.
Exactly. And so, but there's a comfort in a bit of the stability of what you've been successful with. So what we've done is, so like in this case, it's the Margarita Sherb cross.
Sherbert, yeah.
Yeah, King Sherb. So we know that like right now, King Sherb's got a great following and a great demand behind it.
Yeah.
But as people kind of get tired of that, where do they go next? Well, pairing that with...
You're like a fashion
that's
designer.
Genius.
You're like a fashion designer of strainology, of cultivarism.
So they know that they like it, but they want to try something different. But now it's a cross, so they feel there's more like familiarity there.
Exactly.
That's
You get that familiarity while kind of leveling up to, hey, how do we make this fresh and give it a bit of a revitalization.
A new Madonna it.
Exactly.
Keep the career going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, as we do this, we kind of build it up. And then, like what you're seeing a lot more of, people realizing that cannabis is a tool in their life to achieve and accomplish things. So when you get something where you're like, hey, this is my focus, or this is my rest, or this is my melt in the couch, and like there's properties to all of this, and so being able to bring consistency to that, because that's what I feel like the industry is clamoring for, consistency. Absolutely. How do we get this to be consistent, repeatable, dependable? And so that's really part of the goal that we kind of lead into with this is to try and build to that. And at the end of the day, our
just gorgeous. Sorry.
It is. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Wow. I say thank you, but really, I'm taking credit for those that aren't here with us right now.
Hey,
you're representing. Please send our love.
Yeah. So
look forward
what
to doing
is
that.
your I always love this question. What's your story with cannabis? When did you start using it? How does it play a role in your life?
Yeah, so I've been a cannabis user since probably about 12 or 13. You know?
That seems to be a pretty
Between
standard
12 and 14.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that kind of end elementary school, just going into high school.
Yeah.
Hey, what's
Totally.
this about?
Yeah, totally.
And you know, I may date myself a little bit, but like at the time, it was cess bricks. Like it was compress that
Right.
it was either indoor was an anomaly. You were lucky to have it.
Yeah.
You either had the good cess, which was from the mountains in Jamaica that you had the plug for.
Yeah.
Or it was a lot of the Mexican cess that was just the compress pucks that was.
Wow.
It looked
Yeah.
like grass. It
Yeah,
looked like
a
you
little
know
bit
you know when you
less-
played soccer and you had the grass stuck in the bottom of your cleat. It's like
Totally.
break off like that. Fuck.
Exactly. It looks like something
Oh
is
my
scraped
God.
out of a lawnmower almost.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny.
And so yeah, you kind of came up through that, and you know I found a deep connection with it early in high school, and
did.
it was something where I kind of just dove in and wanted to learn as much as I could. And the irony of it at the time was like it was THC. Terpenes weren't a thing we talked about. CBD
Yeah.
wasn't a thing we talked about. Hell, you'd get weed that looked amazing, and you'd call it fool's gold because you didn't get high. Well, in reality, what you probably just got was a CBD strain, and we didn't know what that was at
Yeah.
that time, and thought that we were,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was no tracing. Everything just tasted like chlorophyll. Like it just tasted like green plants when
Well-
you smoked it or burning. And now we literally have like sherbet, like
Well, we bred
Skittles.
it out, right? Like at the time, there was such a demand for things that smelled skunky and things
Right.
that
Yeah.
were things that
Cheesy.
were punchy, and so we literally bred a lot of these things out. So as the world kind of woke up to all these different things, it was a lot to try and pull different, you know, whether it's terpenes or cannabinoids back into the mix.
Yeah, how do you
because
chase
you're burning
genetics
that.
like that? Like, how do you even chase genetics? Like, how do you even these days? Like, when you find that, like what do you do? What's the process of like chasing those things down? Like, is it just like how wolves evolved into dogs? Like, certain like it was like this one was a little orangey, and then you just bred it with another orangish one until you had a master orange
Well,
one. Or
we've done well. Like for us in particular at my labs, we've got a very extensive bank that we have in house. Plus, what we've done is we've helped a lot of us with deep roots in the culture.
Yeah.
Wanted to help others kind of come into it. So we've brought in other legacy brands that we've kind of brought to market, like Cultivating Happiness, who's
yep.
absolutely killer.
First
Does
Class
some-
Funk.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
He hunted the First Class Funk. He hunted the Z Splitter. So we've brought him on board.
So
he
good.
works on the team. Actually, he does our growth support.
And your guys' name is on everything. Like a lot of you know, the orange tings and like started at Mother. Like Brian will tell me like that started at Mother.
Yeah,
and,
that's so
Like
cool.
you're like the back end for the back end, you know.
Well, and that's the interesting thing. Like for a lot of people, we're either bragging rights or their best kept secret.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
some people don't want their names at all.
Fair enough.
Well, it's okay. We've not said anything that's offside, but then there are some people that want to shout our names from the rooftops. So it's interesting on how
I know
people.
that, and that
That's
must be
interesting.
a marketing strategy of some kind. I
Well,
would
for us, not so much. Like for us, like we want to let the work speak for itself.
And
you know
you
what?
do.
Like it's one thing. You know, don't believe me. Let me show you. Let me actually deliver against it.
That's what
And
you've
then-
always blown my mind. That's like a straight like just here, try this. Bam. Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, and-
Yeah, that
Experience.
stuff that we smoked at O Cannabis, man. I just
You like
like
made my life.
it's just what you
love
want legal
Yeah.
to look like.
Yeah, it's what
You
you
know?
wish when you opened up that pack after all the processing and 5 cardboard boxes, you know. You wish that you opened and you got something like that.
Because when
You know,
you're
'cause
spending,
a
we,
couple times I have, but
yeah, I mean the pricing that's a whole other conversation. But still, like when you open something up that you've just invested in, and it disappoints you, it's a really like sad moment for a stoner to be like, oh, like that's not what I was
disheartening.
expecting.
it's
you know?
scary. It makes you scared to spend your dollar the next time.
Yeah.
You get that?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
then I have had my mind blown like you were mentioning, like a good Z splitter.
Yep.
Like that, like a Ghost Drop Z splitter one time. And it was pretty much one bud 3.5, and it
Yeah.
just smells delicious and great. Like
Yeah.
fucking yes. Like, this is what I hope people see when they see weed.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and a great example of that too is because they do talk about it openly, so I'm not offside doing this. Is Organic Craft and their platinum grapes?
Yeah.
That's one of ours, and those guys.
Did I not know
nailed
that?
it.
Oh my god, dude! Those
Yeah.
those are like
as soon as
holy fuck. I
we-
should have known.
Yeah, we flipped because no one else has the trichomes like that. No one has the trichomes on the tight buds like that. Not the mix of tight buds and trichomes.
And those
you get one
I
or the
love
other.
those
Well,
funky
and
little buds.
We're the input, so we definitely have a hand to play. But
Right.
like, the team at Organic Craft slays it. time and time
1000%.
again.
Oh,
Okay, so
man,
that's what
they're
I was
great,
going to
yeah.
ask you. So you do the pheno hunting, and then other people grab your seeds.
So what we do is, we either pheno hunt or we breed. So like what we're looking at here, these are things that we bred in house.
Okay.
And then we also pheno hunt. And so what we do is we're kind of the start of the supply chain. So then depending on how you grow, we either sell you clones or we call them teens, which are ready to flower plants. So
Okay.
basically you could bring them in and just flip them into flower, ideally shrinking your grow period and allowing you to come to market faster. So when I was kind of telling you about how we built this in mind of, helping people get to market sooner, and that's part of it, where you're not vegging for quite as long. You can bring it in, let it acclimatize, and flip it into flower. And so
Incredible.
what we're looking at is you're either coming in as pre-veg or you're coming in as clones, but then a large part of what we do is our lab services as well. So we're a tissue culture lab. So what we do is everything we do is started from tissue culture, so guaranteed pest pathogen free.
Wait,
so we
sorry,
clean
I
that.
don't. What is tissue culture?
Okay.
That tastes amazing. Why is every cultivar I've gotten from you like perfect white ash, like a sandy beach? Like it's almost like white clay.
That is,
How does that happen?
honestly, that is
The way they flush it?
combination of flushing, the process as a whole. I'm not sure which to answer first. to be
I know.
honest.
I'm so sorry.
We're like, we're just so excited. We're just really,
We need your wealth of knowledge.
No, there's never any pressure to answer any questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going
Well,
at your own will.
No, we
but
can talk about. We
yeah.
can take a break to talk about this for a second, though. This is the Mangarita that we're tasting right now.
Yeah.
So it's Margarita King Sherb. What's the version number on that one?
This is this one. Orange Tings and Black Cherry. No. Is that what?
No, Mangarita.
Mangarita and King Sherb version 3.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
just because as we're breeding them, we're going through a bunch of different ones, and these are so hot off the press, we've not even named them yet. That's why we're looking at the lineage versus the names. Like this is something that literally we're just kind of coming to market with now and starting to account for. So, front row view of kind of what's going on.
So cool. Thank you so much for
Oh, of
sharing this with
course.
us. I can't wait to try the Z Splitter Black Cherry Punch. I feel like we should end with that probably. Right? Because this
Absolutely.
has Orange Tings.
Will Mother Labs ever come out as like a brand?
We've been asked that a lot, and the stance we've really kind of taken is we're a little bit more of that quiet background support. Whereas I don't
You're like
want,
Dr. Dre.
You're the
Well,
real
I-
MVPs right
Yeah,
here.
you are the real MVPs.
Well, we don't want to be seen to be competing with our customer. Like, I don't ever want my customer to question, hey, did you hold that best one back for you?
Oh.
Whereas
Kanye
we're
West
trying to
keeping his
push
own
them,
beats.
Yeah, trying to push them forward and trying to excel. Like, really, we look at ourselves to facilitate, because, like, when you look at what we go through, it's generally, like, from start to finish, you're generally about 2 years for an end customer to see what we've done in market. Because we hunt it, we breed it, we stabilize it, we put it to tissue culture, we pull it back, we bulk it up, we sell it out, then our customers grow it and they bring it to market. And so it becomes a very heavy process to kind of bring things to market. So a lot of what we're looking at is a lot further up the pipeline before it actually comes to market.
Right.
So
Can you return
That's
to the
fun.
tissue culture before
yeah,
I hopped
absolutely.
on? So, thank
yeah,
you so much.
I and again, our lab manager Jordan is, an absolute genius.
Is
So
the
I'm
one.
going to do absolute disservice to the explanation
Jordan.
that he would give you. Jordan, I'm sorry, please don't hate me.
No.
So I really, and I'll keep it more of a higher level. So basically what we're doing is we're taking the nodes of the plants and we're bringing those back and building those into, we're actually rooting those into more or less kind of like a test tube plant is what you're looking at.
Okay.
Wow.
So there's a bunch of a process that kind of goes into like the iterations to kind of get it to actually be like a rooted plant, where we're actually stripping out, diseases and
Wow.
inconsistencies of the plant. So like I'll give you an idea. Like when we for our
Biogenetics, man.
oh completely.
Holy.
And so when we're coming, like our TC plants actually have multiple taproots. Multiple taproots, for those that typically you would only get a taproot from a seed, you wouldn't get a taproot from a clone. And so as part of our process, we've actually found a way to get that stability into our TC plantlets. So you're actually getting those. Whoa. And so like if you're looking
What's
at
the
it,
benefit of a taproot?
and then that's exactly where I was going to go. No, it's okay. You're right on cue. So it's kind of like the main vein. So it gives you a hardier, more resilient plant, better resiliency to disease or to
I can
to
feel
dry
this.
back.
You
And
can intuitively feel this. You can feel that. Okay. Wow. So it's like more rooted. It's just more of a strong root, and you're creating this in clones through tissue sampling. That's genius.
It's blowing my mind.
That's genius. So you're like essentially creating like how in the Street Fighter world they hope that they can just make the perfect human for the perfect fighter. You're just making like the perfect plant, like by eliminating things of it can hurt itself.
Well,
Wow.
it's a bit of a mix. Like some of that is done through the breeding process and kind of selecting and kind of pulling it together.
Of course.
And then stripping the disease and kind of some of that other, and then it allows us, like it's almost a disaster recovery, because when you look at it, you can actually cryobank this, which actually effectively you're freezing it and putting it onto. You're putting it in the bank. You're putting it in for longer term storage. So if there was a fire, a flood, an outbreak of something,
Whoa.
you can actually then pull that back so that you've not lost that. And so a little bit becomes that banking, that kind of safeguard, if you will.
Is
You
there
have a
anything
backup.
like that in the legacy market?
It's probably full of
To
it
be
like
honest,
wine, no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Not to look, you can fill a book with the stuff I don't know. So,
Right.
Someone may be doing it. I like to think I'm in on most of that. I've not seen it though.
Yeah.
That's very impressive that you
Yeah,
guys
that's
have
so
this like
fucking cool.
cryogenically frozen tank of sweet Dr. Evils in there, just ready to be a banger at any time period, like a bomb shelter.
It's actually nice because like what we've done right now is we've frozen a bunch of strains. Like what we've actually come through, like it's no secret, like Mother Labs is known for black cherry punch,
So good.
and although one of my
that's-
favorite strains,
black cherry
it becomes a little bit of a negative with some people because it was very heavily into the market.
Yeah.
And look, the honest answer with that is that was the first strain we put in market. The residual of what you're seeing of that is almost 3.5 years ago. That's not something we actively sell or actively distribute. It just took on that much legs
Yep.
Right.
that it kind of popped
Yeah.
up. And so, like what we really do now, and the reason why I kind of brought that in with the freezing, is we run our strains for a limited amount of time, and then we put them away so that we're not oversaturating. Like we try to be
Totally.
very cautious to put our strain with limited people and limited markets, so not to overlap. Like it's not really good to kind of unfold that over your customers. So for us, we
Yeah.
really kind of
Totally.
take a conscious effort to kind of spread that out. And
You just feel like a little gift to the industry, honestly.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
This is so like just
I
enriching
honestly don't know where it would be without you.
in many ways. In many ways.
Which is that's a lot for the legal market. It is crazy out there.
It's been a bizarre infant stage of growth.
the industry as a whole, like when you think about what everyone's done in 3 years, like is it perfect? No, there's definitely still room for improvement, but
Yeah.
in 3 years what's been accomplished, like
That's true, man.
it's
that's
crazy.
true.
Like
Yeah.
it's no small feat. Like
That's true. We did
It's
show
good
up. We're
attitude.
showing up.
Of course, the good guys have the good attitude.
That's how you manifest good things. Are you a practicing mindful person, would you say? Like, do you meditate? Are you aware of law of attraction? Obviously, you work with nature. You're in tune with the plant.
Yeah.
You're such a lovely guy. Do you have purposeful mindful practices?
Sort of. And what I mean by sort of is like I don't meditate, but I am a very big believer in the law of attraction. Like you get what I smile at you, you smile at him. Yeah, exactly.
What we did at the top.
And it all just kind of comes full circle. And so you know what?
Yeah.
It's real simple. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
That's
You
so
know,
nice.
So
That's
simple.
That is the basically like tools to be a human.
It's crazy that we ever forget that, but we do all the time.
It's with everything going on in the world, it's easy to feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And that's I'd love to meditate. It's something I don't put enough mindfulness to get me there, but like that's what you need almost is that step back, that breath to wait a minute.
It helps you remember.
We don't have to kill our neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. That's for me. It gives me that gift of like, oh, this is a simulation. Like I'm very lucky and blessed to be here, but like this flesh thing is less permanent than I am reacting to every day. But I feel like you have the attitude already. I feel like I meditate to get to where you're at. Dude, so you did okay, so obviously you crazily have just given us such a wealth of and a gift of
that was amazing.
A gift of knowledge about the plant and the industry a bit in that way. But you also come from some very third dimensional experiences, having 2 degrees, and you did some really important stuff even with flour after that. So can you fill in the gap a little bit before
sure.
you helped shape flour and like graduating with 2 degrees, or I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah, for me, kind of talking about cannabis, it was always something I used. Like for me, I've got ADD, and I'd use cannabis to help kind of focus me in and kind of turn things off. Like it very much is medicine.
Yes.
And using it in the appropriate ways to kind of get you there. So it always
one day we're gonna do a collage of all the times like a brilliant person just said like it's medicine, and just be like period at the end. That's gonna be a good piece of content. Sorry, continue.
Well, it's exciting also, sidebar, because like now that we're going to be able to have data on it because it's legal, we will see so many more ways that it can actually probably act as medicine. So like everyone who's been intuitively saying that and knowing that because it works for their body and you're tuned in, like that's awesome that you found it. But some people just need science.
So you found it getting your degrees?
no.
Sorry. Or in school, or no? You found it. No, you found you found it in high school.
We got high.
Totally.
But fuck, we got high, dude. Sick. We all got nice and high off of that delicious. I know, me too.
Well, hey, Margarita King Sherbert version 3, pretty stellar. I do not.
Oh, you can't hear this.
I don't not need to smoke anymore.
Dude,
oh yeah, this is lovely on the
look
senses.
at this black cherry. What? Do you think weed's for everyone?
You know what? It can be. I think if people have patience enough, like a lot of it's dosing and finding the right thing.
That's
Patience.
it.
Yeah, like, do you want to figure it out? I figure if you want to, you will kind of find your way into what's right for you. It's really...
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe some people don't want to figure it out.
Totally. I tried it once,
okay
it wasn't for me. Okay.
Dude, thank you for joining us.
Oh my God. Thank you so
fun.
much for coming on the
Appreciate you.
show.
I think you got us the most high of any episode that I've been on, and that's only with 2 joints.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Shout out
So,
Mother Lambs.
I guess the THC people, they're coming for you. Subscribe to our channel. Check out our Patreon. Follow us on where we can be followed.
Love your neighbor, love each other, and smoke lots of
With
weed.
your host, Ellevan.
And my name is Winnie.
And we are the gateway drug to mindfulness. And that's Ralph.